Professional wrestling is the one true sport. Other sports have their share of intense, dramatic moments, but nothing can compare with professional wrestling. Welcome to Wrestling History X, where three friends come together and talk about the stories behind the matches. I'm Matt.
Moonbelly Mike.
Samoan SWAT Team Shane.
Welcome to episode 79, Survivor Series 1992.
There's a coffin match. There's no official tagline for this show.
There's not.
There's not.
That was on the fly. I looked over for the tag and I was like, there's not one.
What it could
So,
be is,
there's a coffin match?
what the fuck happened to our lineup?
I mean, the coffin match ties into the nickname I gave myself.
Yes, it does. I just went for something with S, so.
I didn't even catch yours. What was it?
Samoan SWAT Team Shane.
Oh.
That wasn't my original one, but I forgot it.
But they're the Headshrinkers.
This was the 6th annual Survivor Series produced by the WWF. It would take place on November 25th, 1992 at the Richfield Coliseum in Richfield Township, Ohio, with an attendance of 18,000 people.
Dang.
And a buy rate of 1.4.
I still don't know what a buy rate is.
1.4 people of all the people who bought pay-per-views at that time were buying this one specifically.
Yeah.
I wonder what the hell else was on pay-per-view that night that only 1.4 signed up.
I don't know. I have no idea.
No clue.
But yeah, it's like...
Yeah. Still coming.
So we've been here to Richfield a few times. It's like the third time Survivor Series has been at this specific location.
Ooh.
Oh, so this is like Survivor Series.
It's like this is
their
the place for it.
Hometown.
Was this where the last one? My first one was this where it was from?
No.
Okay.
The very first two were in.
Okay, so it's like going back. But
So
this
it's
is like
going back, yeah.
half the time they've spent here.
Home for
But
the
all of the
holidays.
time they've basically been on the cusp of Thanksgiving.
All of them
Yes.
have
Yeah.
been on the cusp of Thanksgiving, yes.
It's a Thanksgiving tradition.
Mm-hmm.
Started off, the day of? And then it went to like the day before or the day after.
Yeah, something
Yeah,
like that.
I mean it changes.
And now I think we're
The
officially
date changes
on
every
the
year, right?
Sunday
Isn't it always
after
like the third Thursday or something like that? Or
Thanksgiving?
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
works? Okay. I don't know much about holidays.
This is our first time in Ohio, so since Shane has started his food trip around the world.
Yes, feeding us through all 50 states and beyond.
So I'm wondering what he's got for us.
All 50 states and beyond. I like that. Yes. With the Survivor Series, I kind of said a second ago, it's like going home for the holidays. Back to Ohio, where I guess it all started. Food and holidays go hand in hand, as do Shane and food. If you see me,
But do Shane and holidays?
they do.
Oh.
Because Shane is usually asked to make foods for holidays. So if there's a holiday, most likely I'm going to be there unless there's a pandemic that's stopping families from getting together.
Zoom Thanksgiving? Sounds awful.
A very Zoom Thanksgiving.
Tyler Perry presents a very Zoom Thanksgiving.
I like it. But yes, I looked up some Ohio traditional foods and found out the signature sandwich for Ohio is called the Polish Boy. It is a grilled Polish sausage, kielbasa, either some barbecue sauce or hot sauce, topped with french fries and coleslaw. A little crunch, a little sweet, a little spicy, a little salt, and a little, or not even a little, a whole lot of yum. It's messy, but it's delicious, as usually is the case with messy foods, hopefully. I'd never had a Polish boy before. I had had plenty of Polish dogs in my day, but never dressed up like this, because back when I first discovered what the hell a Polish dog was, I was Mr. Basic, so it was bun and mustard if I was lucky. Yeah, this one's good. Again, I went to my friends over at Iron Star and got a couple of things. This one has a jicama slaw on it instead of your traditional cabbage slaw. So big chunks of sweet jicama, carrots, kind of a sweet sauce. I think there's a little jalapeno and red pepper in it. I used a spicy barbecue sauce because I couldn't decide if I wanted to use barbecue sauce or hot sauce. So if you've got the option
Split
for
the
both,
difference.
why not?
I like the choice.
I do as well. As a Polish boy, at least, maybe like a quarter. I don't know. I'm white. The real question here is, you said sandwich. This is debated by a lot of people, but is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
Because this wasn't just a hot dog. This one
it's a tubed meat.
A sausage.
Yeah, but is
Well, that's just like saying any patty a burger.
a burger's a sandwich?
It is.
Yeah, it's meat between
I'm glad
bread.
we're all on the same page.
It's
The
meat
argument
between
that a hot
bread.
dog is not a sandwich drives me insane.
Calzone's a sandwich too.
I'd have to agree. Even though it's
'Cause
classifies
I'm mulling this
pie.
one over, and I'm like, I think that the thing that stops me from being like, yes, it is a sandwich, is that the bread is not cooked separately. Whereas, like on sandwiches, the bread is cooked separately, and then you
It
make the
depends.
two things, put the thing in between the bread.
Like,
But with a calzone, the bread is dough. It turns and it bakes with the thing.
the place I worked at in high school,
A hot pocket's not a sandwich; it's garbage.
Correct.
yes, the place I worked at in high school, yeah, we made our own dough and put the meat and everything inside of it and baked it. It was known as the runza sandwich. But I mean, along the lines of a hot pocket, it's just made fresh with actual good stuff instead of canned sauce.
The calzone, you threw me through a loop. I don't know.
Yeah, I never would have thought of that as a sandwich, but then once you said it, I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. Cause
I mean, when you eat pizza and you fold it up, is it not a pizza sandwich at that point?
It's still what it was
is
to
it a
begin
pizza
with.
sandwich or does
It's
it
what
become a pizza
it's what it
taco?
was to begin with.
If you fold it, does it become a taco? Perhaps.
Taco is a Mexican sandwich.
Yeah, and they
Sorry.
have Mexican pizzas.
I'm sorry I brought
Well,
this up.
Not for long, apparently, because I guess Taco Bell, as they're eliminating everything on their menu, is looking at taking away the Mexican pizza next. So.
All right, well,
It may be gone by the time you hear this.
yeah,
Could be.
they gave
And
me
if they-
food poisoning. I don't eat there.
All right, if they
anymore.
make it the same way they've made it for the last 10 years, then yeah, get the fuck rid of it, because it was good in 1986, but not today.
Yeah, I refuse to eat their food.
How the fuck
because-
did we go from Polish boy to tacos?
Well, I brought
Thanks,
up
Mike.
the classic sandwich debate.
How do we get from A to Z any week?
We divide by 0, and it all shows up.
We like Dusty finished ourselves at the beginning.
So while they enjoy their
Polish boys.
sandwich,
A sandwich dog.
I'm going to tell us about something that happened right around the time of Survivor Series. The movie A Few Good Men would be released
Oh, hell.
a couple weeks later.
I gotta finish this bite, because I got a lot of stuff to say about that movie.
I have nothing to say about it.
Well, I need you to tell me the truth.
The whole dang truth.
You can't handle the truth.
But I want the truth.
All right.
Michael, have you never seen A Few Good Men?
I know you can't handle the truth. I know it's Tom Cruise,
And?
and as everyone's least favorite character from Twin Peaks in it, right?
I'm trying to remember.
James Marshall, isn't he in it?
Oh,
No.
wait, yes.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
I had to think. Yeah,
Uh,
he does play
Who
one of
does
the...
James Marshall play?
He's one of the privates.
Yeah.
at the-
Oh, okay. I didn't know who those
He's been in
people
like
were.
two things: Twin Peaks and A Few Good Men.
Yeah, he's one of the ones that's accused
Some all
of...
like
Yeah.
Cuba, J.T. Walsh, Kevin
Pollock.
Pollak,
Yeah.
Demi Moore,
J.T.
Jack
Walsh.
Nicholson, Tom Cruise. I'm like, who the heck is
Fuck, it
James
showcases-
Marshall?
He's not. Yeah.
It
You know that
showcases Yoo-Hoo. That says a whole lot.
That black and
about-
pink T-shirt that you see me wear all the time. That's James Marshall.
Gotcha.
He's everyone's least favorite character from Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen parts of A Few Good Men on television, but I've never seen the whole movie.
Let me guess, you watched it on TNT?
TNT,
Yes,
HBO,
okay.
yeah, something like that.
Now, A Few Good Men, amazing movie. Amazing, amazing. I mean, Rob Reiner knocked it out of the park with this one.
It's a Rob Reiner film. Like, how have you not watched Rob Reiner films?
I've seen some Rob Reiner movies.
Such as?
When Harry Met Sally.
There you go. Just making sure.
I don't know any other ones that I can think of.
Now, A Few Good Men.
I recognize Rob Reiner every time he shows up. I know what he looks like. He's
I
a
saw
pretty
it
good
in
actor.
theaters
He's funny.
over and over and over and over and over when I worked at Blockbuster.
Oh,
It
The
was
Princess
in my-
Bride, Stand By Me. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
see?
seen all these movies.
See?
Except for A Few Good Men. Or The Bucket List.
It's,
Oh, both of those are
it's an
fun
instant classic.
movies.
Yeah,
Few
you're
Good
not
Men's
getting me
a
to watch Bucket
classic.
List, but
Bucket List is fun. It's
Yeah.
a fun movie.
is it?
Yes.
No,
But
you-
yeah.
You throw
Stand By Me, Spinal Tap.
Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, and then I always forget that he's Meathead on All in the Family. I've seen every episode of All in the Family, but when you think of Rob Reiner, you don't think of... That's not the picture that shows up in your head, is him with bell bottoms and a mustache. You think of him like,
Depends on how
as
old
the
you
fat guy. I mean, I've seen more episodes All in the Family than I have Rob Reiner movies. There's also not nearly as many Rob Reiner movies. Anyway, Few
Great.
Good Men.
Add it to the
Shane
I'll
list.
watch it before The Bodyguard.
Add it to the list.
Definitely add it to the list.
Great movie. Yoo-hoo makes a surprise appearance here and there throughout the movie. Yeah, you can't go wrong with it. It's a great drama. Keeps you on the edge of your seat just when you think you know what the hell is going on. All of a sudden you have no clue. And
I've seen North.
Seen North. Haven't seen A Few Good Men.
North was like direct to cable after it came out. It was on all the time.
There's a reason for that.
I know.
Few
I'm well
Good
aware.
Men is one of my favorite movies
Really?
of all time.
Yeah, when I worked at Blockbuster, it was a part of my employee favorites, and it was one of the ones that was gone constantly. I'm not going to brag, but I kind of had the best employee favorites.
Like I took the poster from my movie rental place
Yep.
Oh, really?
and hung it and like framed it and hung it up on my wall, and
Yep.
it was there for...
I had a Joe's Apartment one.
Nice. Very
Because
nice.
I'm a scumbag.
Hey, that's another classic.
I don't know if you go that far. The first MTV movie, there's talking cockroaches, or singing cockroaches, dancing cockroaches.
all the above.
Yeah.
And, you know, it has a Rob Reiner tie-in because it's Jerry O'Connell, which then goes back to Stand By Me.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, see?
Good pull.
It's tying it all in.
Mm-hmm.
In Jerry Maguire with Tom Cruise, who is the star of A Few Good Men. So, again, it just comes full circle all around. You just need to watch the damn movie.
I'll do it.
I mean, I was on the edge of my seat already when you hadn't watched Good Will Hunting, but
Still haven't.
now...
I didn't realize that was Gus Van Sant. That's weird. Gus Van Sant makes weird movies.
Mhm. And then he went totally off track and made one that was just completely fucking phenomenal. So
All right. Okay. All right.
trust me, I'm feeding you. I'm bringing you alcohol. Watch the movies I tell you to
I
watch. 'cause
know.
you
I
should.
did.
We
That
know
becomes
you,
her.
We know you can handle the truth, and you should watch.
Of course I can.
Let's head off to Survivor Series. The logo comes on the screen as Vince McMahon welcomes us to the show.
Welcome. That's not what he sounds like.
And then he's joined by Bobby the Brain Heenan to go over the card of the show.
Coffin match. Nightstick match. Champion versus champion.
That sounds about right. And we get our first match. High Energy of the Birdman, Koko, Ware, and the Rocket, Owen Hart, versus the Headshrinkers of Fatu and Samu with Alpha.
With chicken wing. He's munching on a chicken wing on the
He is
side
not.
of it the whole time. He's just like gnawing on it like an idiot.
That's what that was. Okay.
It might have been a turkey leg since it was
Yeah.
Thanksgiving.
Did you guys pop for Koko? I was happy to see Koko.
I popped for the person I'm supposed to pop for. and
Owen
that's
Hart. Yeah,
Owen
I know.
Hart.
I know, but it was nice to see Koko. Come on.
It was nice to see Koko. Because the last time we saw him was at Survivor Series 1990, which was episode 50.
It feels so much longer ago. Feels like he wasn't even on that show.
But
I mean,
we've
he almost was.
yeah. Survivor Series can do that to a guy.
it's also been a while since we've seen Owen Hart, as that was WrestleMania 8, episode 68. And then the last time we saw the Headshrinkers, they were the Samoan SWAT team.
Ah, Samoan chain team.
That's right.
And that was at Capital Combat,
Your favorite show.
episode 45.
The only thing I love more than RoboCop is my mom.
But before we go any farther, we need to mention that Alpha is a professional wrestling and WWE Hall of Famer.
Go off and
Okay,
go.
we got more? Or that's just it? Okay.
Those are only two places.
But under the name Alpha?
He was the Wild Samoans.
Okay.
The original Wild Samoans back in the 70s and early 80s.
Technically, have we already said it about
You know who I love?
your mom?
Yes.
RoboCop.
Yes. I also like Fatu.
Koko Ware.
Also like him.
Owen Hart.
Mm-hmm. I'll even give it up for Samu. He'll get a hug too. Can't leave him out.
Fatu.
Yeah, we would cover that. Samu.
What about Alpha?
I will bite the other end of his chicken wing.
What
Hey
about
now.
That's camaraderie. There's nothing sexual about eating a chicken wing with somebody.
Mm-hmm. It's often like when I
Yes.
tell people that
You
I'm just
tell
going to
yourself.
sit there and eat nachos.
You tell yourself that.
There's a hidden meaning behind it.
All right. Okay.
So we get kind of a precursor to the Titantron on this show.
Yes.
As there's a screen as everyone's coming out of the locker room.
I noticed it, but I didn't even think about the Titantron. I was like, oh, it's the 90s. You put a bunch of screens next to each other. Cool. But yeah, it is Titantron light. Very light.
So we see Samu using his power advantage early on, but Owen starts using his speed and agility to leapfrog a back body drop, avoid a diving headbutt and a clothesline before hitting a crossbody for a 2 count. Hart with multiple drop kicks and an arm drag before Koko comes in to keep the high energy with a pair of drop kicks of his own.
Did you guys see the crowd cut of the guy that had like an all-white Newport cigarette t-shirt tucked into his pants with a belt on, like a mustache and a hat? He looked like every hipster kid from like a few years ago. He looked like a Mac DeMarco fan. It was incredible.
Awesome.
It's like, you're ahead of your time, sir.
Ware stomps away on the bare feet of the Headshrinkers, hitting a double noggin knocker, but the Samoans no-sell and go for a double clothesline, only for Koko to avoid. But Alpha catches him in the back with his staff. The Headshrinkers start working over Ware with double teams, Fatu with the clothesline, Samu with the trap hold.
Yeah.
Right before that trap hold, there's a Koko chant. Guys, I'm not the only one.
The crowd are giving off some high energy as well.
Yes, for the man, the Birdman.
Samu hits a clothesline before Koko with a desperation sunset flip for a 2 count. Fatu with a thrust kick, biting the face of Ware. And the Headshrinkers then use a double team to keep Koko from tagging.
A boy needs the tag. Everybody flap your wings for Koko.
Only for Ware to avoid the avalanche splash to make the crawl to the corner for the hot tag. Owen with multiple drop kicks on the Headshrinkers, a back body drop, goes up to the top rope for a crossbody on Samu, makes the cover, but Fatu breaks it up. Hart then with a spinning heel kick on Fatu to knock him to the floor, comes off the ropes with a crossbody on Samu, who catches him for a power slam. Then Fatu comes off the top rope with a Samoan splash for the pin and the win.
And the greatest thing is that, was it Fatu that comes off the top?
Yes.
Okay, Fatu comes off the top, but Samu stands underneath him, so he jumps over him, and it's a great visual.
Absolutely.
And then they get the pin, and I was like kind of surprised because I hadn't seen these guys in a minute. They had a new name, I guess, and then it's like Owen Hart and Koko.
And then you remember Koko Beware is a jobber, and
Hush.
Anybody has
Samu can take a pin. Fatu
Not
is
tonight,
taking
he
plenty of
doesn't.
pins. He doesn't, and I'm not mad about it. I liked it. But the most important thing here is that you know what time it is, right?
replay time. Which
Brain
means we
scan
get
time.
Brain scan.
Yes.
And Bobby draws a turkey.
Yes, Owen is a turkey here. I don't agree with him, but I'm down for the joke. He's a heel. He's gonna shit on some things that we like, but you know, we're laughing together.
We then go to the locker room and Sean Mooney's there.
Why didn't I say Shane Mooney? That's just dumb, stupid.
No.
Next time.
It's all right. You'll get good at this.
And Sean tells us to please use viewer discretion before you watch the next match. And then Nailz joins Sean. The viewer discretion should be this match is going to suck.
Yup.
The Nailz promo is too long, but it's incredible.
No, it's not.
Yes,
It's
it rocks.
absolutely
It
horrible.
rocks. It's so silly. I mean, it's not silly. Like, he's mean, but they do, like, a voice modulation on
Yeah, I
him.
was gonna
So
say, is that why it's awesome? Because his
that's
voice
part
was
of
too
it.
high
But he
and they
goes
had to
on
change
too
it?
long, and
You
he
think
sounds...
there was a voice modulation on it?
There is,
Yeah.
totally. Absolutely. It's incredible, though. And if it wasn't so long, I feel like it was intense, and it was kind of scary. I liked it.
Apparently, Vince
I mean-
thought that his voice was too high to be taken seriously as a bad guy,
a prison
guy.
daddy?
Yeah, so they doctored his voice instead.
It's awesome.
He literally says this line, I've been waiting for this day for a long time. 2,478 days.
That's a very long time. How many years is that?
9?
Like
Yeah, I was like at least
8.
7 to 8.
Yeah. He was doing a hard time, guys.
So, I mean, Bossman must have locked him up, like, right before he joined the WWF.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe
that
before
was the last...
he was in the NWA. Before he was even a Cobb County.
Well, when he was in the NWA, they didn't pay well, so he was Big Bubba Rogers at night, but his day shift was being a cop.
Ah, gotcha. We then go to Mean Gene, who's with Bossman. And Bossman says, Nailz says he's innocent, but he's wrong. I've seen his file. He should be doing a life sentence. And then we get split screen of Nailz making his way to the ring while Big Bossman continues his promo. But as soon as Nailz hits the ring, Bossman just takes off running.
Because there's a camera to the side. You can see that he's running for the nightstick. You don't want to run into a man with a nightstick in his hand.
So our second match, Nailz versus Big Bossman in a nightstick on a pole match.
Oh, yes. It's definitely on a pole.
Do you need me to explain this one to you?
The nightstick's duct taped to a pole.
So the story behind this match was that Nailz claimed Big Bossman had mistreated him while in prison.
I believe it.
And when Nailz debuted, he stole Bossman's nightstick, which he then used to attack opponents.
I think it was passed down for like 3 generations.
That's what you do. It's like the steel glove in New Japan.
Or the claw in Texas.
Or a coal miner's glove.
We don't pass that one down. We just use it once and let it go.
Nailz is trying to climb the pole even though the match hasn't started. But Big Bossman rolls into the ring to pull him off the ropes. Nailz starts choking Bossman, punching away, runs into a knee on a charge. But Bossman then delivers a big right hand to put Nailz to the mat. Big Bossman starts climbing, only for Nailz to meet him up there to press slam him off, hitting a backbreaker and applying more chokes. Big Bossman fights back, only to miss a splash, allowing Nailz to make the climb, which Bossman yanks him down again to crotch Nailz on the way down. They both hit clotheslines for a double KO, but Big Bossman is the first to his feet, making his way up to grab the nightstick. Bossman then hammers away on Nailz with the stick, but he no-sells and takes the nightstick away to return the beating, until Big Bossman whips Nailz to the ropes to hit the Bossman Slam for the pin and the win. Post-match, Big Bossman nails some more with the stick to force him out to the floor.
Nail Bulldog on Bulldog.
We then go to the back. Mean Gene's there with Ric Flair and Razor Ramon. And Gene says, you thought you were meeting the Ultimate Maniacs, but Macho Man has dropped a bombshell. Let's go to the tape. And we see Savage
Love it.
being interviewed on Prime Time Wrestling. And he says, I found the perfect partner to go against Flair and Ramon. And Vince is sitting there at a table with Hillbilly Jim.
Yes.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Where have these guys been?
Bobby Heenan and Mr. Perfect. And asks, do you mean that? And he starts pointing at Mr. Perfect.
Do you
mean
he's gonna puke?
And Macho says, I'll spell it out for you. Yes, it's Mr. Perfect.
CURTHENNING.
All of a sudden, the brain starts yelling at Perfect. You take orders from me and Flair, and you are not getting into the ring at Survivor Series. Perfect just stands up and starts yelling back at Heenan. I'm getting tired of everybody making decisions for me, so Savage, I accept.
And then what does Bobby Heenan do?
Bobby slaps Perfect.
Oh my God.
That's not very smart, Brain.
Oh my God.
Mr. Perfect grabs Brain by the tie, yelling some more at him.
And Bobby Heenan's just groveling.
Saying, Flair has been walking in my shadow. Which we know is not true.
Hey, I mean, in the WWF, Flair didn't show up until Perfect couldn't wrestle anymore.
He did just have the title, though.
Yeah, what title was Perfect had? An IC
title twice.
Blame Hogan.
Perfect
we're always going to blame Hogan.
Perfect then grabs a pitcher of water.
Oh, yes.
And just pours it all over Bobby.
And what do we get?
Perfectly.
When Bobby Heenan is drenched.
You get a wet weasel.
Oh, wet weasel. We got a wet weasel on our hands.
We then go back to Mean Gene, Flair, and Ramon live, and Flair has these words for Perfect. You've been living the Flair lifestyle because I allowed it. And Razor chimes in with, 2 things are going to happen. We're going to prove no one's perfect, and only one man in the WWF oozes machismo.
Machismo. I gotta say, watching this happen on Primetime Wrestling back in the day was awesome.
Electric. It's pretty great here.
Yeah.
I mean,
This isn't the... typically on Primetime Wrestling, they do little shocking things like have the Undertaker and Paul Bearer come on and perform a embalming...
sex ritual. Those are the 2 guys we want to see in a sex ritual.
Stingray.
They had
Paul Bearer
Earthquake come on one point and cook snake burgers when he was feuding with Jake the Snake after quote-unquote killing Damien. But this was the first time you really got to see a face turn on Primetime Wrestling. Just with a group of guys sitting there talking. It wasn't anything that was expected. You figured Perfect was just going to be the same old same, and they throw this out there. And I remember being 14, 15 years old as it's happening, my eyebrow kind of raised, and like, what are they doing? Is this... They can't seriously... Okay, yeah, this is actually
we're
happening.
doing this. Yeah. When Bobby Heenan slapped him, I popped, and I watched it like a day ago. Like, oh my gosh, all right. And we got the wet weasel. Come on. Pouring the water on him while he's just groveling. So good. Bobby's so good.
So we're off to our 3rd match. Rick, the model Martel, versus Tatanka. And the story behind this match was that after these 2 men faced each other at WrestleMania 8...
This might be my favorite angle in all of wrestling.
Martel would continue to antagonize Tatanka by attacking him with his atomizer of cologne and stealing the eagle feathers that symbolize Tatanka's Lumbee heritage.
This is an eagle feather match, guys.
That's right.
It was really funny because I didn't catch that until the match started, and then they started to talk about it because they didn't really run a package for it because it does not need one. But when Rick comes out and he's got like his boat gear on or whatever, and he's got like a feather earring or some shit, and I was like, I mean, I still know it's Rick the Model Martel, but there's something weird here. And then I put it together as time went on.
So a chop fest opens it up before Tatanka hits a back body drop and a pair of drop kicks on the model. So Martel rolls outside to regroup. The model gets back into the ring and a shoving match begins, where Martel goes for a kick, but is caught and reversed into an atomic drop and a clothesline to send Rick back out to the floor. Vince then calls Martel a former Intercontinental Champion. Let me check my notes here. No, you never put the belt on him, Vince.
Do that. He's like, what was his name again? I was surprised that they said Native American more often than they say Indian, which I think they only say once or twice. But Bobby and Vince McMahon say Native American. I was like, awfully progressive in '92, especially for the WWF.
Back in, the model finally gets some shots in, flapjacking Tatanka across the top rope before applying a facelock. Vince then tells us that Sergeant Slaughter has been appointed the Special Rules Enforcer by Jack Tunney.
I didn't catch that.
Did you realize that Slaughter had been in this commissioner role so long?
I didn't hear him say that while I was watching the show. It didn't register, and we don't see Sergeant
They were basically
Slaughter.
talking about how rules aren't being broken as much, and that's when Vince mentions this.
Because of Slaughter, huh?
Yeah. Who's a notorious rule breaker, which is what Bobby says.
Yeah. He's not only a rule breaker, but a past traitor.
That's right. He's a turncoat.
Mm-hmm.
Tatanka then fights out of the face lock to vertical suplex, or as Vince likes to say, what a maneuver!
I do like Vince commentary quite a bit, even though it's wild that he doesn't know what any of these things are.
And it just makes you wonder that if somebody today was sitting out there and saying the stuff that he was saying then, would they still have a job?
I mean,
probably not.
I don't know. Tony Schiavone.
I don't know. I'm surprised Michael Cole doesn't say what a maneuver because Vince is the one telling him what to say.
Yeah. Michael Cole's like, he probably has a little bit of trust for Michael Cole because he's just beating him into the ground. to make more Michael Coles.
Can I have your attention, please?
Yeah.
But after that vertical suplex, Martel goes right back to the face lock. All of a sudden, we see Doink the Clown walking down the aisle.
They don't even call him Doink, I don't think.
No, they don't.
They don't. But it's like
But
clown.
we know
who it is. But I was like, all right. So is this his debut?
This is his debut.
His debut.
And the last time we saw Matt Bourne, who plays Doink the Clown,
Doink 1.
was at Clash 17, episode 61, as Big Josh.
That's crazy. He looks.
At
I don't know
Series.
why I always think that Doink is smaller than he is because Big Josh, big guy. Are you more of a log roll or a balloon boy?
I mean, I remember Doink more than I'll ever remember Big Josh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely Doink to people. that
But as
know his
Doink's
name.
walking down the aisle, he's making balloon animals, handing them out to kids. And
I thought he
stuff.
was gonna make a balloon weasel. He makes a balloon like Dachshund, weenie dog, and I was hoping that he was gonna make a weasel. And
I mean, he probably just spent like the last month in balloon animal school, so he probably just knows basic ones.
I think the only cool thing about being a clown is making balloon stuff, because the rest of it sucks.
Like, I think it'd be cool just to dress up and scare the shit out of kids
Okay.
constantly. So.
I don't know. I'm good on all that.
I was never the kid who was afraid of a clown, though. So.
I was never afraid of them, but they're just ugly. They're not fun. Didn't age well.
Tatanka escapes the face lock once again with a front suplex to the apron before slingshotting Martel back in. The model with a double throat thrust to regain control before hitting a neck breaker for a 2 count. We go back to the face lock so the cameras can focus again on Doink.
And someone's yelling from the crowd, just like, get out of here. Like, even the crowd's just like, get the fuck out of here, you stupid clown.
But we come back in time for Tatanka to clothesline himself free and starts working over the Martel. The Native American sidesteps a charging model for Rick to go shoulder first into the post.
Posted.
And Tatanka takes advantage, working on the arm with tomahawk chops and arm locks. Martel goes for a hip toss, but Tatanka counters into a backslide pin attempt for a 2 count, followed by an arm drag. The model finally stops the momentum by tossing the Native American to the outside and begins to work over his back, both on the outside and once they are back in the ring. Martel comes off the second rope with a double axe handle, but Tatanka catches him in the gut on the way down. Starts firing up with chops, does the war dance,
Chop, stomp, chop.
hits a body slam, goes up to the top rope, and comes off with another tomahawk chop. Tatanka then hits the end of the trail, which is a Samoan drop,
Okay, I was like, end of the trail. I was curious if it had a name.
for the pin and the win. Do either one of you have what Bobby Heenan said?
No.
Hey, how are ya? Hey,
Oh
how
my
are ya?
gosh. And
Post-match.
not new. And the feather goes back to its rightful
Yes,
owner.
Tatanka
I don't know how to
takes-
say that in a fun way.
Tatanka retrieves his feathers from the corner,
And now it's at full power.
and then we see Doink pop all of the balloons that he had just given to kids, which gives Bobby a really good laugh.
Yeah. The only... Get out of here, Doink.
Sean Mooney's in the locker room with Macho Man and Mr. Perfect. And Perfect says, me standing here has got to be killing Flair. The Nature Boy wants to talk shadows. He's always wanted to be like Mr. Perfect. And Razor, whatever you're oozing stinks.
You.
And then Savage gets a shot in at the Ultimate Warrior by calling Perfect a superior athlete.
Double burn.
And says, I don't trust you, Perfect, but you know Flair and Ramon better than anyone. And we're off to our 4th match. The Nature Boy, Ric Flair, and Razor Ramon versus Macho Man, Randy Savage, and Mr. Perfect.
In a dudes versus dudes match.
So the story behind this match was that Savage and Ultimate Warrior have been feuding over the world title leading up to SummerSlam. with Flair having both men convinced the other was working with an H. At the SummerSlam match, Macho was injured enough that the Nature Boy was able to cash in on the situation and win the title a few days later. So Savage and Warrior would team up to challenge Flair and his new protege, Razor Ramon. But Warrior would leave the WWF 10 days prior. So Macho Man would recruit Perfect to be his partner and shock the world.
Here's what I don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
They had 10 days prior to the event. They've had 28 years since the event. And yet the graphics for the event still show Warrior and Savage on the cover instead of Mr. Perfect.
Because that's
Why?
part of the surprise on the show.
It's not a surprise because they gave it away on air before the show.
They already did the art. Why fix it now?
Because
It's like
Mr. Perfect deserved it, damn it.
I mean, I agree. I agree, but
SummerSlam cover.
I'm also anti-revising Star Wars. But George Lucas keeps doing it. We can't stop him.
Yeah, but if
no special edition Survivor
The
Series.
Ewoks don't blink.
if they
That's your issue?
if for some reason they recast the role of Princess Leia, they would not
It's a joke that I've been making for a long time. But yes.
If for some reason they recast the role of Princess Leia, they would not still have Carrie Fisher's picture on the poster for it.
But the match that was advertised
Yeah, they
is the original Ultimate Maniacs versus Flair and Ramon.
Yeah.
Yeah, now they're the
They
perfect maniacs.
They just
The perfect
messed up
savages.
everything for themselves. Because, I mean,
Pretty good.
I get the reason for it, but then at the same time, they gave away who the partner was before the show actually happened, a week before the show actually happened. And then still, all these years later, they haven't thrown Mr. Perfect up there. He deserves a damn pay-per-view poster.
If you know, you know.
I'm
Wrestling
okay with
is
it. I'm okay with it.
Wrestling is
Because
It's
we
carny
know
shit.
we know Vince at this point. Vince does stuff to sell tickets, and then we'll change stuff. Like this year's WrestleMania, they literally, even though if you knew that Roman Reigns was not going to be at WrestleMania a week and a half before the show, but they literally had a 3-minute segment on the Friday before WrestleMania, the day before, that basically was like, he's not going to be there, so Braun Strowman's going to be in the match.
But they put Braun Strowman on the graphics for everything. They removed
technology,
Roman
sir.
completely.
Technology.
They made no mention of him whatsoever. That's what bothers me is, I mean, I was a huge Ultimate Warrior fan forever, but I'm also a big Mr. Perfect fan, and he deserves it, damn it. He never got to have a pay-per-view poster with his picture in the main event.
I agree, he deserves it, but
It's still not in the main event.
I know. Well, I mean, this is WWF main event, though, so it's the 4th match, so it makes sense.
it's always a double main event.
For the intermission, so people can go home, get home early.
Yeah.
So Savage takes the mic to introduce Mr. Perfect, giving him the last entrance with his own theme music.
Yeah, and this is the real rub, is that they're legitimately pushing Perfect here, which I did not expect. I thought that it would be more slapped together, but they're taking this opportunity to try to right some of the wrongs they made earlier.
Ramon and Perfect get us started, and Razor tosses his toothpick, but Mr. Perfect just retaliates by spitting his gum at him.
Perfect.
Perfect's using his
So
speed.
he's all out of bubble gum, is what you're saying.
Perfect's using his speed to avoid Ramon's attacks before hitting a drop toe hold and slapping Razor on the back of the head, before going to the floor and woo winging at Flair.
The slap on the head, that's how you get people into a match immediately. It's he's not Ultimate Warrior. Some of you guys want Ultimate Warrior, but he goes in there and slaps him on the back of the head. Come on. Pulls you right in.
Ramon ends up dragging Mr. Perfect back into the ring, taking him to his corner, but Perfect fights out with chops. Nature Boy's in only to run into a series of punches, a backdrop, a drop kick, multiple clotheslines, and his Irish whip for a Flair flip to the apron, only for him to run right into a Macho Man forearm. Is this the first Flair flip in WWF?
I think there was one at Survivor Series when he first showed up.
I think there was one in the...
That's right. He flipped out to the floor, and then everyone got disqualified.
Yeah, I don't know if it was a traditional one.
I think they had one at the Rumble where he went over but didn't actually fall to the floor.
Yeah, and this one he does the run to the corner, but Macho Man cuts him off.
Savage rolls Naitch back in, comes off the top with a double axe handle, and starts slapping and peppering him with lefts and rights. Ramon jumps in only to receive Savage punches as well, clotheslines to both bad guys, but Flair finally recovers to send Macho into his corner for double teams. Razor with elbow drops, double chokeholds, forearms to the back, and a leverage-aided abstretch. But Savage finally hip tosses Ramon to escape, only for the Nature Boy to come in and toss Macho to the floor.
We should do like the Chinese, like Year of the Dragon, Year of the... What are the other ones? There's tons of them. But it's like the...
I'm all for Year of the Ricky Steamboat.
The rabbit? No, but we do it for moves. So we've got
we
got like Atomic Drop. We're in the Year of the Ab Stretch, baby.
Razor slams Savage headfirst on the steel steps before rolling him back in, where Flair hits a knee drop. Ramon locks on a half crab, which causes Perfect to think twice about this match.
I'm liking Ramon, but this is the worst half crab I've ever seen.
Oh, it's super lazy.
it's so lazy because he's not. It just looks like Ric Flair's like a little kid laying on their stomach watching TV with his leg up. It's so funny.
And Mr. Perf drops down to the floor and starts walking to the back.
Oh my God! Don't do this.
But the fans start cheering and to convince him to stay.
Well, also they push Macho Man's getting beaten down, and they have him across the ropes facing Mr. Perfect walking away, and it's real good. And Macho's even got a little bit of blood on his forehead. It's just no, what the fuck, man? Don't do this, Perfect. Where are you gonna go to? You just turned face-ish.
But as Mr. Perfect gets back on the apron, Razor sucker punches him, allowing the bad guys to continue the double team on Macho. Savage with a desperation backslide pin attempt for a 2 count, only for Ramon to come in with several elbow drops and a choke slam. But Perfect breaks up the pin attempt.
You don't see a lot of choke slams. I popped for the choke slam.
Macho's then with an inside cradle for a 2 count, but it is a momentary reprieve as Flair is back in to continue the attack, and Perfect is still disgusted at Savage's inability to fight back.
Oh my gosh. It's Randy, come on.
Naitch goes up to the top, but Macho hits him there to press slam him off, allowing Savage to make the crawl to the corner for the hot tag. Perfect in with right hands, a hip toss, neck snap, atomic drop, and a knee lift on Ramon. Nature Drop charges in only to receive a knee lift as well to be sent out to the floor. Mr. Perfect and Razor Ramon in the ring brawling while Macho is out on the floor with Flair when Naitch grabs a chair and hits it over the head of Savage, allowing Flair to roll back in and help double team Perfect. Mr. Perfect fights back with a back body drop and a clothesline to send the Nature Boy back out to the floor, but Razor comes from behind to toss Perfect to the ropes, where he ends up running into the ref and knocking him out to the floor.
Ref bump.
Ramon sets up for the Razor's edge, but Perfect uses the top rope to flip out and backdrop Razor Ramon before hitting the Perfect Plex, but the ref is still out on the floor.
Oh my gosh.
All of a sudden, a second ref, Joey Morella, jumps in the ring to make the count, but Flair is recovered enough to break up the pin. Perfect then hits a Perfect Plex on the Nature Boy. And the original ref, Earl Hebner, rolls back in to make the count. But Razor breaks this one up.
Oh, no thank you.
I didn't realize how much I missed the Perfect Plex until it was right there in front of me on the Nature Boy.
It's a fisherman suplex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. More fisherman suplexes.
Mm-hmm.
Both refs are trying to restore order, but Naitch just pushes them out of the way. And the bell rings.
Ding, ding, ding.
Mr. Perfect and Macho Man are the winners by DQ.
I know.
Post-match, Flair locks on the figure 4 on Perfect, while Ramon grabs a chair, only for Savage to finally recover and take away the chair. Guillotine Razor Ramon on the top rope. Macho then hands the chair to Mr. Perfect, who jabs the Nature Boy in the chin to break the hold, and then slams it across the back of both bad guys. We see the two winners then standing in the ring, with Perfect still holding the chair, like it's up on his shoulder, like, is he going to swing it? Is he going to hit Savage? Is he still mad that Savage
Macho Man's trying to celebrate. He's like, come on, guy, we just did it.
But he finally tosses it away, and the two high five after Mr. Perfect thinks about it for a moment.
He does think about it for a moment. He's like, well, I put the chair down, but I still don't know if I'm, about to plex your ass.
We then go to the back of Mean Gene's there with Flair and Razor, and Nate promises that next time they will end Perfect's career, while Ramon implies he killed the last Chico that crossed him.
Yeah, he's like, says something, like, I don't even know if he says killed, but he implies that he's like, yeah, like, see if you can find him or whatever. It's pretty dark.
He pulled a Marty, huh?
Yes. Razor Ramon with the toothpick at the bowling alley.
Oh, Razor. Now, isn't there some backstory on him where he actually did kill somebody at one point?
Was that Kevin Nash or Scott Hall? I always forget.
I thought it was
Scott Hall. Scott Hall, but I have no clue.
I think it was. Yeah, they were both. I know they were both like bartenders, but I think it was Scott Hall. But yeah, there was a thing. It was self-defense, but he didn't kill a guy, and it did fuck him up, and took him a long time to,
That's why I'm surprised.
One of the reasons that he probably got into substance abuse outside of just wrestling being hard on the body and substance abuse being a problem in professional wrestling, unfortunately. But he did kill a man in self-defense.
Yeah, that's
real big bummer.
It seemed a little too real for them to pull that in.
It
hadn't been put into the public knowledge yet, really, but...
No, it probably wouldn't have for a while, because I don't even think he told people about it back then.
Yeah, looking back on it now, and once hearing him say that was the first thing I thought was, holy shit, he actually did kill somebody too. Why the hell did they put this in?
I mean, you can say that again years and years later when they are pouring alcohol on him.
Yeah.
So we're headed to our fifth match.
Yokozuna.
With Mr. Fuji versus Virgil.
Oh my gosh. This Yokozuna entrance is so good.
So, by the way, Yokozuna is a WWE Hall of Famer.
Heck yeah.
First time to see him.
I know.
And also, we haven't seen Mr. Fuji since Royal Rumble 92, episode 66. We see a couple of geishas greet Yoko in the ring, and he tosses salt for good luck.
Throw your salt high.
Did anybody love the Vince trying to put over Virgil as the biggest test that Yokozuna's had?
Yeah. I also like that, like, before Yoko came out, because this is not the debut of Yoko, right? It's just his pay-per-view debut. Well, I mean, I hadn't seen him yet in any of these shows we've been covering, but before he came out, they showed the geishas, and I was like, so we got some, maybe like a Japanese tag team or whatever, and then the music hits, and Yoko comes out, and I'm like, hell yes, and then he enters the ring, does the salt, they give him flowers, and he just throws them out of the ring, and he like derobes, and he's just got such a mean look on his face. Like, it's just, the gravitas is like fitting.
Yeah, I mean, he was total intimidation just looking at him. I got to see him wrestle a couple times, and I mean, in person, granted, I was all the way on the other side of the arena, but I mean, he was still a big ass, larger than life person from that far away. I could only imagine the force and the sound effects of being ringside.
So the match gets going with Yokozuna tossing Virgil away, and then Virgil attempts a shoulder block, multiple drop kicks, even an O'Connor roll, which would have been really interesting to see him try and roll up Yokozuna that way.
You're a strong dude there, Virgil.
Yeah, Yoko's not quite no-selling it, but he's just too big.
Exactly.
Granted, Virgil's a monster. He's a huge man. But Yoko is 500 fucking pounds.
Yoko then hits a reverse crescent kick and a Sambo suplex. Virgil tries to fight back, only to run into a side suplex and a leg drop. Virgil floats over on a corner charge, goes for a schoolboy pin, but Yokozuna just sits down on top of him.
Yoko makes that ass drop.
Yoko with a reversed avalanche splash and the bonsai drop for the pin and the win. We then go to the locker room. Sean Mooney's there with Perfect and Macho. And they have a good laugh at Flair and Razor. And Perfect gives them some big turkeys.
Oh, this is disgusting.
Before giving Heenan a little chicken.
They're shoot raw turkeys that he's like holding up. And the grossest part is at the end, there's like one for you, one for Flair, one for Ramon. And it's like these giant turkeys. And then they pull out this like Cornish hen. And it's this like, little disgusting raw chicken, and he's holding it up, and he just launches it, like just throws it out of frame, and it made me want to vomit. It was disgusting. It's just this like little raw chicken you just threw against a wall, and someone's going to pick up. It's so gross.
And you got Alpha just sitting off camera.
Oh yeah, Alpha caught it. Yes, he did. The Bobby at the end of the Yokozuna match had been talking about Thanksgiving, of course, but after this match is over, he says, I guess it's just cranberry sauce for Virgil tomorrow because he got beat up so bad he's not gonna be able to like chew and stuff. He cranberry sauced a lot in that match. That was his like one note for that match. He's like, all right, this is my cranberry sauce match. We did mashed potatoes 2 matches ago, and we'll get to the rolls later. But
so we're headed off to our 6th match,
the first Survivor Series match of the show, really.
The only Survivor Series match of the show. Maybe Vince figured something out.
I mean, I couldn't be happier. I legitimately could not be happier. Just letting you know now, my biggest praise for this show later on, in a show full of that deserves some praise, it's not Survivor Series.
We get the Beverly brothers of Beau and Blake with The Genius, and Money Inc. of $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase, and Irwin R. Schyster with Jimmy Hart versus the Natural Disasters of Earthquake and Typhoon and the Nasty Boys of Jerry Sags and Brian Knobbs in a Survivor Series elimination match. So the story behind this match was that Money Inc., the Natural Disasters, and the Beverlys had all been feuding over the tag belts. The Nasty Boys were scheduled to have a title shot as well, but Jimmy Hart would have Money Inc. beat up the Nasties and take the match where they would become the new champions. The Nasty Boys then would join the Disasters to get their revenge.
It's funny that the face teams here are the Natural Disasters and the Nasty Boys. It's like 2 things that don't sound so good on paper. It's like, oh, Natural Disasters are pretty scary and they kill people. And the Nasty Boys, I mean,
they're just nasty.
Get nastified.
Yeah, the Beverly Brothers sounds like a face team. They even dress like a face team and look like a face team.
Unfortunately, they can't wrestle like a face team.
They don't have any charisma.
So the rules of the match are if one member of the team is eliminated, the whole team is eliminated.
The tag team.
Yes, yeah. the whole tag team.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah.
Typhoon starts out with Blake missing a charge, so Blake struts around with Jimmy Hart making fun of Typhoon.
Oh, Jimmy Hart just cackling through the megaphone is so loud and pretty fun beginning of this match.
Only to come back by shoving Blake around and then does some strutting of his own. Blake tries a sleeper but gets squashed in the corner, hip tossed and given a backbreaker. Earthquake comes in to lock on a bear hug when Beau comes in to jump on Quake's back, but then the Disasters hit multiple avalanche splashes in the corner on both Beverlys, followed by an Earthquake power slam. Knobbs comes in, starts yelling at Money Inc., only for Blake to tap him on the shoulder from behind, so Brian just knocks him down with a right hand, a face plant, and a clothesline.
The Beverly Brothers truly bump really well in this match, so I'll give that to them. It's like, oh, they're like...
Well, who else was going to bump in this match?
Yeah, but I mean, they're doing it well. They're it's not... They're selling the stuff. It looks good. Their bumps are nice.
Blake is able to make a tag after a low blow to Sags, but Jerry comes back with a pump handle slam on Beau. DiBiase distracts Sags long enough for Beau to take over the attack with a butterfly suplex. $1 Million Man comes in with a clothesline, goes for a vertical suplex, but Jerry reverses into one of his own. IRS comes in with elbows, but misses a clothesline, goes for a hip toss, only to be reversed by Sags for multiple hip tosses of his own. Jimmy Hart then jumps up on the apron to distract Jerry, allowing Schyster to hit him from behind. Blake comes in and hits a power slam, and the Beverly start working over Sags with second rope double axe handles, a neck breaker, and a chin lock. Jerry counters that into a sleeper, but Blake tosses him off to the ropes, and the two men bump heads for a double KO. Sags is able to crawl over to the corner for the hot tag. Quakes in to destroy Beau with right hands, back elbows, clotheslines the both members of Money Inc. before everyone jumps into the ring to brawl.
Is it a Pier 6 brawl?
It is. Earthquake with an atomic drop on IRS, while the Nasty Boys toss Blake and DiBiase over the ropes to the floor. Beau then tries for a crucifix on Typhon, but it ends up in a Samoan drop.
I mean...
You're not going to crucifix me.
I mean, like, yeah, it's like...
Typhon.
Yeah, I know Thanksgiving is tomorrow, but you're a little too hungry, sir.
Quake starts up the Trimmers, hits the Earthquake Splash for the pin. And the Beverly Brothers are eliminated.
Oh, nuts.
The Bump Daddies? The Bump Brothers?
Yeah. The Disasters and Nasties pass $1 Million Man around, pummeling him until Earthquake misses an avalanche splash and Money Inc. hits a double back suplex. Money Inc. then takes over, double teaming Quake in their corner with head slams into turnbuckles, chin locks, clotheslines, second rope double axe handles, face locks, until DiBiase goes for another double axe handle, only for Earthquake to get a boot up into the chin and crawl to his corner for the hot tag. Typhon's in hot with clotheslines to both members of Money Inc. Hits the Typhon splash on Schyster, but DiBiase breaks up the pin. The Nasties then run in and clothesline $1 Million Man over the top rope to the floor.
Real 360.
And while the ref is getting them back to their corner, Typhon starts to run the ropes, but he is tripped up by DiBiase from the outside. IRS then drops an elbow and makes the cover for the pin. And the Natural Disasters are eliminated.
Boo. Remember, like, not too long ago, Earthquake was, like...
Awesome.
Pretty awesome. And then the Natural Disasters were, like, kind of awesome for a minute there. And it's just, like, they're just dripping down the card.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a fucking candle in a blackout.
Sags then runs in and hits an O'Connor roll on Schyster for the pin and the win. And your Nasty Boys are the survivors.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who was going to win, but I didn't think it was going to be the Nasty Boys.
No.
They're the ones with the push right now.
Yeah. I also assume.
They're also the ones with the feud with Money Inc. because of Jimmy Hart.
And I mean, we all know that the Steiner brothers are coming through here. And who are the Steiner brothers going to work? Probably the Nasty Boys. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. That's my guess.
Spoiler alert. The Nasty Boys got their title shot taken away because of the Steiners showing up.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry, Knobs and Shaw. No, sorry.
Knobs and Shaw.
I know, it's that action movie that I did not see. But it relates to wrestling. The Rock's in it. This was not the worst Survivor Series match we've watched, but it's a Survivor Series match, and it's the only Survivor Series match. But I have a huge problem with, like, a multi-tag match, like, because there's no hot tag when there's 6 people on either side of the ring. It's hard to, you just can't really care that much. You still have chances and whatnot, maybe for the last, but the tag's just not quite hot.
No, definitely. You've only been in there 4 minutes. It's not a hot tag.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad they didn't get any more time than they got. But to be honest, big ups to the Beverly Brothers, because I noticed them for the first time, and
in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. I noticed them doing something that I admired, which was, bumping their ass off.
We then see a shot of Tatanka, Mr. Perfect, and Macho Man talking to people on the hotline. Vince then tells Bobby that he should call Perfect, and Heenan will tell you what what he would call Mr. Perfect and Savage. They are a bunch of no good, low life. I'll call them something.
Turkeys.
Yellow,
Chitlins.
There's lots of things he could call them.
Yeah.
We then go to a
Buttholes.
video package with footage from SummerSlam where Kamala would hit a top rope splash onto the Undertaker, only for the dead man to rise up to freak out the Ugandan. And we see Bear pushing a coffin down to ringside where Kamala's having a match. And once he sees it, Kamala just takes off running,
yes. It's
freaked out.
So good. His, Kamala's just facial reactions and acting is so good. Like, we know he's not the greatest wrestler, but, like, he really embodies his character.
Yeah, I mean, his
very, very well.
facial expressions and just the reaction of his body as he's moving.
Yeah, it's really, really
good. Either he pays very close attention to those little things, or they just happen and it works out for everybody. But yeah, he impressed me, as you said, not really in his wrestling ability, but just his
embodying
reactions.
of the character. Yeah.
We then see Taker working on a special coffin just for Kamala.
I want a PDF, damn it, of the blueprint. I need it. Why is, like, if WWE's shop sold that, like, all their designs are typically terrible. But my God, if they just sold that print, I would purchase it.
Well, I'm going to send out a message to my good friend Triple H to find us the blueprints. Email them.
Yeah,
or tweet them.
This new gimmick.
Yeah, of like calling out people that probably don't listen to podcasts, let alone a wrestling.
They may not listen now, but sometime soon, somebody is going to tell them that.
Oh, of course they are.
This jackass that called himself a Samoan SWAT team is calling you out on a podcast. I mean, if Dave Grohl can have a drum off with a 10-year-old girl, then I can get Zach Braff or Triple H or Jenna Fisher to give us a shout out.
I think that's
on Twitter.
A lofty comparison, but I still love you.
And Undertaker says, "You will not survive Survivor Series, Kamala. Rest in peace."
For real though.
Yeah, he's gonna put him in a gosh darn coffin.
So we go to our 7th match, Kamala with Chee and Harvey Whippleman.
That was going to be my other name. I was like, am I going to be Kimchi Mike? And then I was like, no, I'm a Moonbelly Mike.
Kimchi
Mike
was
the first.
The Office.
Kimchi Mike was my first thought, but second thought, much better.
Date Mike, Prison Mike, Kimchi Mike.
Versus The Undertaker with Paul Bearer in a coffin match.
First coffin match, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And we see Paul Bearer roll out the biggest coffin
for the biggest boy
ever seen.
That's a big thing.
Thing is huge.
He's got the whole moon on his belly. It's going to take a big coffin.
So the rules of this match are you have to make a pin or submission and then place your opponent in the coffin and nail the door shut.
Yeah, I thought that part was weird. I didn't expect a pin.
I mean, it changes over time.
Yes, I'm aware of that. That's why I was kind of surprised. But they probably also didn't think they were going to do this, like, multiple times.
As they get to the ringside, Taker takes the lid of the coffin off, and Kamala starts to freak out again.
And the inside of the coffin is like crushed purple velvet.
It's so pretty.
It's nice.
But Chee calms Kamala down, and the Ugandan starts slapping his belly. But then rolls to the outside.
Oh, look at disapproval.
I was like, that's a weak.
Sorry, it was not good.
But then rolls to the outside to run away from the dead man. But the Undertaker just stalks after him. Kamala tries to take advantage once he is back in the ring, but Taker no-sells everything and fires away with right hands.
Also, there's a moon on the casket. They even put Kamala's stuff on
all of his tattoos that's on.
Yeah, they put them on the. Yeah, they put on the coffin, which is such a nice touch. And we see a whole group of like 10 people dressed as the Undertaker with a giant Undertaker sign in the crowd, and I was like, damn, the Undertaker's over here in 1992.
Yep.
Taker goes up for old school, followed by slamming his head into a turnbuckle and a short arm clothesline. Undertaker telegraphs a back body drop so the Ugandan gets some shots in before clotheslining out to the floor, where the dead man begins to choke Chee and Harvey.
It's the 360, but Taker lands on his feet. You know, in
As he does.
Taker style.
Until Kamala makes it to the floor to hit him from behind and toss him into the steel steps. The Ugandan hits Taker over the head with Chee's helmet, a double throat thrust, grabs a chair and whacks Undertaker across the back before rolling him back in. The dead man is body slammed, but he no-sells it. So Kamala body slams him again with the same result.
He's got the urn cam.
A third body slam, and Taker stays down. So the Ugandan then hits multiple splashes. Paul Bearer then jumps up on the apron, but Chee trips him up, sending the urn into the ring.
And this is great.
Kamala then is tossed the urn.
He picks it up, but he's afraid of it. Which Chee's trying to instruct him to hit him with it. But he's just freaked out by the whole thing. He's like, I don't want this fucking thing.
That's right. There's dead people in there.
Yeah.
Every time it's acting like it's a hot potato.
He's just like, this is evil. What the fuck? Get this away from me.
So Undertaker picks up the urn and clobbers Kamala over the head with it and makes the cover for the pin. Taker then rolls the Ugandan into the coffin, grabs a hammer with R.I.P.
Oh my gosh,
handle.
yeah.
Nice touch.
When Paul Bearer pulls out the hammer, I'm like, oh, that's a fucking sledgehammer. And then you get the shot and it's got the R.I.P. on the handle. I was just like, oh my god.
And
You guys are nailing it here.
Nails the door shut for the win.
It's funny, the nails, he puts them in there and it's already obviously been drilled.
Yep.
So he after the second hit of the nail just goes straight in.
Yeah.
It's very
I like how he was
cartoon.
hitting it so hard in some places that it was just breaking the edge away.
Yeah, it was like breaking the wood because he was just smashing it. Because it's probably, it's not it's more than balsa wood, but it's not some hard oak or whatever.
This would be Kamala's last pay-per-view appearance.
Yeah, Kamala had been gotten over in territories and stuff before all of this, so they kind of just brought him in because they knew he could do this well.
Yeah.
He came in and did his thing, and
He actually sticks around. He was actually supposed to have a match at the next WrestleMania, but it got cut for time constraints. So he does stick around for a little bit longer, but we'll never see him again.
Yeah, the kayfabe of the show.
Yeah.
The what's the deal with Chee's Rorschach mask?
It's a beekeeper
mask?
But it's got the black on it, so it's more of a Rorschach vibe, right? It's got
no.
It's not just straight white.
No, it's just straight white with
Is it?
maybe some black around the eyes. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've seen. I guess that's more old school beekeeper. Oh, beekeeper, Chee, beekeeper, handler for a African Tarzan. What is going on here? Harvey Whippleman.
Totally
Either way,
sense.
big love
totally
to
get it.
Kamala. Yeah. Chee, yes,
We then go to the locker room
the
where
fermented cabbage of Africa.
Sean Mooney's there with Shawn Michaels and lets us know that Sensational Sherry is not there because she's still recovering from injuries caused by Marty Jannetty. He hit her with a mirror. You know that mirror that she always carried out to the ring?
Yeah,
Marty hit her with it.
I didn't show it,
No,
No.
but
not here. We might see it soon.
Yeah.
okay.
We'll see it eventually, I'm sure.
HBK then goes on to say he's the better man because he beat the Bulldog who beat Bret Hart.
Because 1 + 1 = 2.
We then go to Mean Gene with Bret Hart, and Mean Gene says, Bret, you've been a fighting champion, facing many opponents over such a short period of time, not saying no to anyone. And Hart responds with, I've been surviving 8 years, fighting my way to the top, and I give thanks to be here, and proud of it. I have tons of respect for you, Sean, but tonight we will find out who will survive as the champ. And I was like, is this the only time you had respect for Sean?
Yeah, and even then, the promo's solid enough where you're like, oh, he's just he does the whole I've been here for 8.5 years and I've clawed my way to the top, and it kind of feels like he's digging a bit. In hindsight, of course. At the time, you wouldn't have thought twice about it. You've just been like, hey, yeah, this is a good promo. We don't always get good promos.
Yeah. So we got our 8th match. Shawn Michaels versus Bret, the Hitman Hart.
Look at that. A championship match in the main event.
For the WWF Championship.
It's a double champion, except for it's like...
The IC title's not
on the line.
On the line.
Yeah. But Shawn, he's got an opportunity to about Mike.
Setting the stage here, we got Survivor Series.
We
got Shawn versus Bret. We got Earl Hebner as a ref. Sounds like a history-making event is about to happen.
I mean,
How about that?
Or maybe we'll wait a few more years, but you catch my drift.
Yeah, if this sucks, I quit.
Yeah, screw this.
Back and forth to start with no one gaining an advantage, as each man are using the hair, chin locks, and other holds to wear down their opponent. And Vince entertains us all by making fun of the brain while this is all going on. Bret gets the first major shot in, using his momentum to send Shawn out to the floor, and then slingshotting him back into the ring from the apron before reapplying an armbar. The Hitman floats over on a back body drop attempt, going for an O'Connor roll, but Michaels holds onto the ropes, but Hart then goes for a flying crossbody for a 2 count, and the kickout ends up sending Bret out to the floor. When Hitman's coming back into the ring, he does so with a sunset flip for a 2, followed by an arm drag. And then Bobby mentions their conditioning, which completely sets Vince up for an IcoPro ad.
Oh, what does he say exactly? But he's like, it's like, get big, IcoPro. It's just like something like, it just sounds like a soundboard that he like pressed a soundboard button.
Yeah.
Like it's really bad. It's funny.
Intense conditioning program or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
IcoPro.
Hart goes for a hip toss, but HBK flips through, missing a clothesline, only for Bret to hit the clothesline. More arm bars until Shawn tosses him off and catches him, falling backwards to guillotine the Hitman across the top rope.
Oh, the old flapjack RBS, rubber band slam.
Hart blocks a head slam into the turnbuckle and then charges in, only for Michaels to sidestep, sending Bret shoulder first into the post.
Posted.
HBK starts working over the Hitman, hitting a DDT, sending him hard chest first into a turnbuckle.
Does Bret take the chest first into the buckle? Is Bret the best at just doing that the nastiest?
Bret and Owen both.
Yeah.
Them too.
It's a trade-off.
It's just so goddamn good because it hurts. You can like see it move, and it's just like, all right, well, there's nobody here to like fuck this up but me. So it's like, oh, like trust yourself, and you can't get mad at anybody if you hurt yourself doing it.
There's time and time again where Bret went running for that turnbuckle and smashed into it, and I was just waiting for him to just like shatter through it.
Yeah, he's like, oh, Ric Flair's just flipping over this thing. He's like, I'm gonna
go right into it.
Yeah, I'm gonna eat it like Thanksgiving
Sometimes
dinner.
the best way around something is through it. So that's what he did.
I mean, that sounds like a good wrestling promo.
Hart begins to fire up, only to receive a drop kick and a backbreaker from Shawn, and goes back to a headlock. Bret hits a swinging neckbreaker, only for Michaels to stop the momentum with a throat gauge. The Hitman comes back with a bulldog, goes for a second rope elbow drop, but HBK moves and hits a flying back elbow for a 2 count. We get more holds, which Hart reverses into a cradle for a near fall. Bret then floats over a charge into the corner before hitting a back suplex on Shawn.
This is like too much of a wrestling match for a WWF crowd.
I mean, I'm loving it.
Oh, no, I am too, but I'm just saying, like, this is really good, and the crowd is just, like, kind of, like, meandering. That's like they're watching, but you can tell there's people that don't care, there's people that do, but, like, it's one of those things like, come on, guys. And then I'm like, oh, well, they just saw Taker put Moonbelly in a casket.
Yeah.
And, like, this is a wrestling match. Most of them came here to see, Nailz get hit with a nightstick.
So I'm wondering
Not most of them, but...
I'm wondering how many people were sitting there wondering or waiting for Marty to run out or somebody else.
It's also a good point. There is a moment where you can see people kind of like looking over, which happens in almost every big wrestling match.
Yeah.
But
it's the second time the championship was held, right?
What do you mean?
Survivor Series, like the second time the World Championship match.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
last year's
last year was
Survivor
the first.
Series where Undertaker won.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess they had a wonky ending on that one, so this one would have to be a...
Also, Brett is a new champion that won off television.
Yeah.
Michaels comes back with a Thez
But
press.
this is what should get him into it. But nobody there's seeing a Thez press and getting excited, unfortunately.
Only for the Hitman to catch him and then catapulting him into the ring post.
Posted.
Hart gets HBK into the corner horizontally, allowing Brett to kick him, causing Shawn to crotch himself before hitting a back body drop for a 2 count. The Hitman turns it on with a Russian leg sweep, backbreaker, second rope elbow drop for a near fall. Hart then places Michaels on a top rope, hitting a superplex.
Oh my gosh.
Remember how Shawn won the belt?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
But both men are down until Brett finally rolls over on top for a 2 count.
Too worn out to get on that early cover, man. The superplex. Damn it, if you don't sell the superplex, then is it even wrestling?
The Hitman then applies a sleeper, but HBK backs Hart into the corner, sandwiching the ref. But he recovers quickly enough to see Brett go for an atomic drop, only for Shawn to flip over and go for an O'Connor roll. But the Hitman reverses that to go for one of his own. So Michaels then drops down, sending Hart out to the floor. HBK then runs Brett's back into a ring post, hits a body slam before bringing them back into the ring. Shawn then tosses the Hitman back first into the turnbuckle before hitting a back body drop for a 2 count. Michaels is getting a little annoyed
with the ref.
Starts arguing, allowing Hart to roll up HBK with a near fall. Brett then walks into a super kick.
Oh my gosh.
And then Shawn hits a teardrop suplex for the pin. And no! Hitman kicks out.
So close.
Hart punches Michaels so hard it knocks him back into the ropes, tying him up. But he's able to free himself just in time to avoid Brett's flying crossbody.
Oh my gosh. And Brett, it's a nasty, little rope hang that he gets.
HBK then goes up to the second rope, coming off with a drop kick. But the Hitman catches his legs, locking on the sharpshooter for the submission and the win.
Hell yeah.
Post-match, Santa Claus comes to the ring,
The fuck?
hugs Hart,
Boo.
and snow begins to fall
Boo.
as Kringle places a Christmas hat on Brett's
He
head.
puts the hat, and Brett's just like, what the fuck is this? And also, Brett's holding a check, which I thought was weird.
I have no clue what that was.
He's got, it's just a normal-sized
Did
check.
Santa hand that to
That's
him?
what I was thinking. It's like, oh, you won.
Maybe he was extra nice, so he
You
got
won
an
the
early bonus.
Like, the only good
Or
thing...
maybe Santa was like, "Here, Brett, read this, so you know that I'm not a fan. I'm really here for the act. Don't beat me up, please."
You've been served.
Yeah, that's all Vince because it's just stupid, and it's kind of takes away from the moment. I
know what he's going for.
Yeah.
Because the Macy's Day Parade, the last thing you see is Santa Claus, and it's now Christmas time.
Yeah.
That's what they're going for.
I know. I just don't care.
It's super lame.
The only good thing that happened, the only good thing about the snow is that at the end there's a shot and there's a dad and he's got a little kid he's holding up in the air and the kid's got the
holding the program over his head.
Yeah, no, it's a belt, like a foam belt over his head, and it's pretty cute. But that's not enough of an excuse. No. That's just that's an accident.
Show me a graphic or something like that at the end. Happy holidays with snow falling, but you don't need to do this shit at the end of a match.
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
It's a little hokey.
But one thing that I'd like to talk about in this match that's a small thing, because there's a lot of holds in this match, but that's because it's a wrestling match and not a fucking joke. Shawn Michaels, the dreaded reverse chinlock?
Mm-hmm.
Shawn Michaels does, it's not even, is it considered a reverse chinlock? But his chinlock is him laying on the mat on the side, and the way
side headlock.
Yeah, that's his side headlock looks incredible, and the way that he puts it on and sells him cranking it in and stuff like that looks fucking great, and it's compelling. It's one of the reasons he's Shawn Michaels, but it's most guys just do your reverse chin lock, which is really hard to make look good, and this thing just looks good every time. And I mean, I've seen a lot of people do it bad, but it's like him doing it is like, how are you guys fucking this up? Like, how are you guys fucking up side mat headlocks? Because he's just doing it so effortlessly. It's great. And I feel like that it is one of the smaller things to point out, but it was really big for me in this match.
Interesting. But Vince says his goodbyes.
Ho, ho, ho!
He does that, and then Bobby...
Does he really?
Yeah.
I don't even remember it.
And then Bobby woos.
Yeah.
So I ask you, gentlemen, what are your overall thoughts of Survivor Series 1992?
I'm so glad it's not Survivor Series. It's just a pay-per-view. That's...
Are we going Willy Wonka with that, or?
I don't know. I can't sing. I don't know what song that was. What song was it?
I don't know.
Oh, I'm tone deaf.
It was your own little melody.
Well, I think it was Merry Little Christmas is what I was trying to do. I think. I don't know.
Okay.
No clue at all.
You can steal that melody.
Okay. How about you, Shane?
I mean, it wasn't the Survivor Series from my childhood, obviously.
Thank God.
Shut up.
I understand. You really did put it into perspective for me whenever you like talked about Survivor Series. I was like, okay, I get it, but being this far removed from it,
that's the entire reason why I like Royal Rumble. But for some reason, I don't like Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble has
a very roller coaster of an experience, because I mean, WrestleMania, they throw all their energy into that. Royal Rumble kicks off the new year, so they have to make that one exciting because it's technically on the road to WrestleMania. SummerSlam is the hottest event of the summer, so then you're left with one before the holidays that they just kind of dump stuff into and hope people watches. This one, it had some good moments, had some not my favorite, not my least favorite, but I did love the fact that it was the kickoff for HBK versus the Hitman that will span the next 7-8 years.
5 years.
5 years, whatever it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I don't feel like the show itself is that great.
No.
At like a complete thing. But the newness that was felt in watching it kept me entertained.
Yep.
With multiple debuts and, Yokozuna.
Even Perfect is like a re-debut almost.
I mean, Perfect is basically a re-debut because we haven't seen him since almost, WrestleMania 7?
Razor Ramon. We have the best.
Like and we've never seen him as a face. So.
Exactly.
The best.
Razor Ramon's first match.
The best debut of all time. Doink the Clown.
Santa Claus?
No, Doink the Clown.
Okay.
Santa Claus.
I mentioned Doink.
Yeah.
Oh.
We get to see.
I blocked it out because I'm a liar.
We get to see a new match type in the Coffin match.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And we'll see plenty of those over time, but this is the first one.
A few new match types.
And we see the beginning of a rivalry that we'll see plenty of over time that are tremendous matches. And I mean, if this is the first one of many, many matches, then they have a good baseline to start.
Definitely.
I mean, this match, there wasn't...
This match would have murdered in Japan.
Yeah, there wasn't much that I could say
I wish it would have... I wish the match would have been a little bit quicker.
Yeah. You could cut 5 because this went like a full 30.
I think it was 26.
Okay.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah. Well, it could have been 22.
Yeah, I mean, you could have cut down on some of the... I mean, I know you were liking the side headlocks, but they kept going back to it a little bit more than they probably needed to.
If they were going to do it that much, then they needed a couple bigger high spots.
Which I'm just sure was because Shawn's technically still kind of green as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
And so Brett's guiding him through the match and everything, and so they kept going to those to, make sure that they're on the same page.
He's a wrestler.
Yeah.
He's not going out there to, put a man in a coffin. He's not doing anything weird or lame. It's like, oh, this is a wrestling match. Like, he was taught by old wrestlers, and he seems like he does his best to keep true to that, and there's a reason that, like, you know,
absolutely.
he's a reason he's Bret Hart.
Good. Where's the smart marks at? All right, fuck you.
I think it's time we smart it up. So, best moments of the show.
When they overdub Nailz' voice with sound effect.
I really didn't realize that they had done that.
Oh, it's so obvious. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
You've got to go back and watch, just like, because the promo is really good, I think. It's just too long, but I think that it is a good promo for that match that I shouldn't have cared about, but I ended up having a fun time with that match, even though on paper it just, looks like a coffee stain in my mind.
Now, I remember reading about them altering his voice, but I guess growing up, I didn't realize it because all of these wrestlers have so many unique twists to their voice where a lot of times it sounds like they just need to stop, cough, and clear their throat. And I kind of thought that was the case with Nailz, where he was just that Brian Pillman mixed with Andre the Giant, where you were just waiting for him to cough something up and be able to speak a little clearer. But the twisting or altering of his voice was unique for the time that it was. Best moments for me, I mean, I love me the Bret and Shawn match. I love seeing the return of Mr. Perfect.
The debut match for us of Yokozuna.
I mean, literally one of my favorite moments, because I
When
started...
Yokozuna throws the flowers away?
No.
Oh, I love that.
I mean, which is great, too. But no, actually, when Virgil goes for the O'Connor roll,
Oh my God.
I laughed
It's so funny.
so hard. I was just like, no, you're
Even if
you're
you
not-
wanted to, you giant
doing
beefy
that.
boy. Yeah.
You're just going to get set on.
Uh-huh.
So that was one of my favorite moments. And I completely agree. The final match, especially the last, 6 minutes. I mean, basically, once Michaels hits that Fez press, that match kicks into high gear at that point.
Yeah.
And it's great. And I love the catching of the drop kick and turning it into the sharpshooter.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I was like, that is great.
One thing also, this is probably the longest heavyweight championship bout match in WWF that we've watched. It's 26 minutes. There's no way there's been a longer WWF match we've watched.
I'm trying to remember
because they've
Warrior Macho was a little bit longer
Really?
at SummerSlam.
Oh, that match was fucking awesome. But it's not this.
Yeah.
It's
But
what,
I
it's
mean,
one of those things
it
that not
goes
everybody
long
can.
because there's all the
they threw
shenanigans.
Yeah.
And stuff.
But shenanigans done well, but shenanigans nonetheless. I will say, if this show was a movie, Kamala deserves at least a nomination for Best Supporting Actor. Right?
I agree. He was very, very effective in his
Oh, yeah.
silent, scared stance.
Mm-hmm. So good.
Yes.
But yeah, this show's very...
Warrior and Savage went 28 minutes.
Oh, my gosh. All right.
But if you subtract the nonsense with Perfect and Flair, then it probably hit about
Yeah.
24-ish.
I mean, Bulldog and Brett went 25-40, which is literally 20 seconds less than this match.
Yeah. That was IC, but it was like,
It was still a main event.
it still was main event. But I'm just, I
And
was
obviously
just thinking
the
of
man
like,
that beat,
Hogan matches are all like 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And like 5 of it's posing.
obviously the man who beat the guy who beat Bret Hart has to go a little
bit longer.
longer.
Yeah. How about disappointing?
That there was a Survivor Series match on it, but it doesn't outweigh the fact that it wasn't a Survivor Series show, so I'm ecstatic.
Yeah. And on the plus side of that Survivor Series match, it wasn't the typical Survivor Series tag team match that we've seen before, where it was 4 teams on each side.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause,
definitely.
I mean, technically,
They don't even have one.
it was basically 2-on-2.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was not that bad. It's just that like I don't care. You're not building anybody really.
I mean, they were building the Nasty Boys.
Cool. Just to bring them back down.
I mean, they leave before they
Disappointing.
come back down.
Yeah.
I'm looking through, trying to find
The show
the
is
most
like
disappointing moments.
so like
I would
so
have
middle
loved,
of
I
the
would have
road.
loved for more Owen Hart moments.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't
honestly,
think he really got to shine
I would
in that
say
match at all.
another surprising thing was I didn't expect the Headshrinkers to win because I just didn't.
Because you just don't know WWF.
Yeah.
Sometimes
It
I
was
wish
obvious.
Sometimes I wish
The
I
new
didn't.
team always wins.
Sometimes I wish. Well, I mean, they're not a new team.
Yeah, they are.
I know they are, but they're not. They weren't to me. I'm like, oh, new name. So I didn't even think about him as a new team.
They're a new team.
He's still Fatu. Still Samu.
Razor Ramon's not the diamond stud.
Yeah, but I guess has he performed as? I guess they haven't. He hasn't performed as Fatu in the WWF, has he?
This is his first real time in the WWF. He was WCW.
Yeah, because we saw him in AWA and WCW, but it's hard to tell because I feel like we saw them like on every show for like
essentially,
year almost.
Headshrinkers are the Wild Samoans 2.0.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have just kept the Samoan SWAT team name.
Yeah. This one's a little just like, okay.
Changed it to Wild Samoans with a Z or something like that at the end.
If the Nasty Boys
Wild
don't get a Z, then they don't
Y.
get it. Then the Headshrinkers don't get a Z.
Best performer of the night? I mean, we know it's Sean and Brett.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's Sean.
Sean and Brett with...
Kamala in third place.
I was going to say...
yeah, Kamala gets the... Like I said,
mention.
he's not best, like, wrestler, but like I said.
No.
Best supporting actor.
That's why it's performer.
Yes, exactly. Good
That's
on
why
you.
I said best performer.
Oh,
I
yeah,
always put
I'm
best
sorry.
performer.
I know
put
you
best
do.
wrestler.
I know you do.
That's why we give it to Heenan sometimes.
Yeah. Minus Doink, I was surprised
Or the
that I
girl that
liked
sings the national
Tatanka in the Rick Martel match. I thought it was good. Except for getting in the
I
way
know
to force those.
that match, I know why they kept going to the face locks and the chin locks.
Because there was an excuse.
Because Doink is there.
Yeah, it would have been,
But it should have been a 7-minute match
Yeah.
with them just doing their thing.
Yeah, I agree. But I viewed it as that.
It's like you literally could have had Doink come out and doing balloon animals in between a match, like while like Vince and Bobby are talking, and you see him giving them out, and then all of a sudden they like finish, and the next match is about to start, and all of a sudden he starts running around, just popping all the balloons, and then he runs off.
Yeah.
That would have worked just as effectively.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have taken away from a match.
It wouldn't have been annoying because I was enjoying the match and then you fucked it up for me.
Yeah. Anything surprising? I mean, we got all those debuts. We got 3 big debuts on this show. I mean, I guess 4 if you want to count the Headshrinkers, but I mean,
yeah,
we've seen them before. But
I mean, like I said, surprising, exciting. The reason the show gets the big old thumbs up, it's not Survivor Series. It's not traditional Survivor
so
Series.
that was what surprised you? Is that it wasn't an actual Survivor Series?
Yeah, when I realized that, it was like a weight lifted, a fog like cleared from my eyes and my brain, and like it was like, oh, I have the option to enjoy this now.
I was surprised that, I mean, yeah, they had the tag team elimination match, but I was surprised they didn't have at least one singles for nostalgia purposes. What else?
The show is just so like solid. It's just like, oh, it's good, it's fine, it's good. But then there's highs. There's some really good highs.
Technically, my thumb would be kind of pointed downish.
If it wasn't for the last 2 matches.
I mean, I don't love the final 2 matches. I said, I feel like Sean and Brett were a little on the slow side.
Yes, definitely.
I feel like if they picked up the pace a little bit quicker, I would have loved the match, but I didn't love the match. I thought it was a very good match.
Yeah, I expected to like it a little bit more than I did, but I couldn't deny that it was better than most matches.
I mean, I think that's probably most surprising for me is that
you thought
I thought I was gonna love the match.
Yeah,
and I was just kind of like, okay,
I'm with you there.
I like a lot of it.
Yeah,
but I didn't love it.
It's kind of like the second Brood Chono match where you're like, I should love this, and I'm like, well, it's good.
Well, that's booking. They fucked that up.
Yeah, but I mean, it's like it's still a similar vibe in where it's like, oh, like I should love this, but I should like this more.
And now for a look back even further into the history of wrestling.
The dusty finish.
After winning the belt at the Great American Bash, Dusty Rhodes would meet Ric Flair in a rematch 2 weeks later on August 9th, 1986 in St. Louis, Missouri. Flair would attack the leg, wearing it down until the Nature Boy could apply the figure 4 in the center of the ring. The American Dream would turn it over momentarily, but Nate would roll it back, and Dusty was too tired to continue, leaving his shoulders on the mat for a 3 count.
That's a lot of beef to move around.
Ric Flair would become a 5-time world champion with the win and would hold the title for over a year until a man with hands of stone would face him. Next week, Starrcade 1992. Are you ready for that Lethal Lottery Battle Bowl 2?
I don't know what to think. I really don't. I want Starrcade to be good all the time.
Come on now, we've got...
But this will be the 10th one. How many of them have actually been good?
True.
Not enough of them. It's a problem. If my favorite of like...
Can you... Yeah, I'm trying to think of the good one.
85.
Yeah, the earlier ones. Bash at the Beach 92 though.
Great American Bash 86.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's like it's just they don't have a solid like pay-per-view like legacy for like a name attached to a show.
Yeah. I mean, Starrcade's where they should, but...
Yes. That's why I always wanted to be like... Yeah. And then it's... fucking...
They run too many gimmicks on it and just ruin it a little bit.
Lethal Lottery, the Battle Bowl. The Battle Bowl is the Lethal Lottery, right? It's got 2 names, right?
Starrcade 92, Battle Bowl.
And that's the...
But the Lethal Lottery tag matches are how you get into the
Battle Bowl. Yeah, it's too much already. Because you keep saying Lethal Lottery, and I'm calling it Battle Bowl, and I'm like, am I wrong? I think it's the same thing.
It's not actually even the tagline for the show. So.
Yeah. You know what it is? Battle Balls.
The Toilet Bowl.
The Toilet Bowl, yes.
Music from this week's show is the theme from Survivor Series and Heartbeat by Jimmy Hart and J.J. Maguire.
And, what was the Christmas song I was trying to sing earlier?
I have no clue. You didn't even know.
Yeah.
A Merry Little Christmas. Bum, 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 bum.
Have yourself a Merry Little Christmas.
Yeah. Do it for Santa.
Most disappointing. Why the fuck was Santa Claus?
Oh shit! Really threw me off because nothing about the show. I don't know.
Screamed Christmas at you.
Also, it's like we're not that far away from Thanksgiving, like in real life at the moment, but still, it's weird. It's like watching Home for the Holidays in July. Like, what's your problem? Leave Holly Hunter alone. It's not time for her to show up right now.
I'm so happy you said that movie. That's my absolute favorite holiday movie of all time.
It's very good.
It is.
If
you know what's not surprising, though?
What's not surprising?
We're going back to Georgia.
That's not surprising at all. If you like this episode or any of our other ones, please rate and review us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you find your podcast at. You can always email us any questions, comments, concerns, recipes. We're still looking for some of those.
If you know what Christmas song I was singing.
We are.
What's your
Some of my celebrity chef friends out there that are down in the South,
oh my God,
shoot us some recipes. I would greatly appreciate it. Emerald, I know you're listening.
Paul Prudhomme, he's dead, right?
Michael Simon, I know you're up north,
sure.
but I'll still take some food.
The ghost of
recipes.
Julia Stiles.
I'd say Paula
Also
Dean,
not
but I don't know if she's.
You don't want that
PC
smoke
yet.
yet. You don't want that smoke.
Yeah. Plus, I like butter, but not that much.
Yeah.
You can send us those at WrestlingHistoryX@gmail.com, or you can always find us on Twitter at WrestlingHistoX. That's Wrestling HISTOX. We'll talk to you next week.
Laters.